Hi guys, we're going to be doing some area model practice today as a recap. It's something I taught you guys in some of the previous videos, but I wanted to do a little bit of review. And hopefully this week you'll meet with one of your teachers so that you can even do some more review with it and make sure that you truly understand how to use the area model when you're multiplying a one-digit number by a double-digit number or double-digit numbers by double-digit numbers. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And something I wanted to show you guys first is that we are going to create like little schedules or little reminders for you guys. And so here's a reminder for you for today. It's Monday. And so if you're watching this video on Monday, April 20th, this video is showing you your schedule for Monday. So for Lexia, and I know we've introduced, some of the other teachers introduced SDMath, so if that's something that you're already on, that's something you'll be doing according to what your teacher said. But these are the 4 things we have for today. So Lexia, at some point today, you should log in and complete at least 20 minutes of Lexia. For EPIC, at some point today, you should log in and complete at least 30 minutes of EPIC, where you can read a chapter book in English, or you can read a chapter book in Spanish. Just make sure it's a book that is challenging you and that you're enjoying. For math workshop, it's going to be this video that you're going to watch today. You're going to go to my channel. If you're already here, obviously you're here, so don't worry about that. But yeah, so today is our lesson for area model recap. And small group, today you might get to meet with your teacher on Google Meet if she told you you had a meeting today. It only depends on what group you're in. But if she told you that you guys are meeting and that there's a specific time, then expect to meet your teacher today. So we're going to start with our learning intentions for today. Today I will understand I can use the area model as an efficient strategy and model when multiplying single-digit numbers by double-digit numbers, like 15 times 7, or when multiplying double-digit numbers by double-digit numbers, such as 15 times 17. My success criteria, I can use the area model and explain why the area model is an efficient strategy. My language intention, I use words from our multiplication anchor chart, which we're about to look at. The 2 words I really want you to use today: area model and distributive property, because those are 2 words we've been really talking about in these last few weeks. And our social intention, I do the work even when no one is looking. So as you remember in class, we used to always go over our vocabulary, our anchor chart, just so that we make sure that as mathematicians, we're using the correct vocabulary. So I say, you say, multiply, equation, number of groups, multiples, group size, factor times factor equals product, equation. I think the word up there was equal group, sorry guys. Equation, commutative property, like 4 times 2 is the same as 2 times 4. Associative property, efficiently. The sentence frame, I think the product is because the word array, so like rows, which means horizontal, and columns, which means vertical. The word decompose and distributive property. And some of the models and strategies we have, like repeated addition, skip counting, array model, decomposing, which led us to finding out that decomposing really is the same as using the distributive property when you're decomposing or breaking down numbers apart so that you can multiply efficiently. And then the one we've been really working on is that area model, okay? So I'm actually gonna have you try to do a problem first without my help, without me guiding you through it, and then I'll go through it with you guys. So raise your hand at home if you've ever had or you've ever eaten a croissant. A croissant is typically a really yummy French pastry, but a lot of bakeries sell them all over the US. So a baker is baking several croissants. If on each tray he places 24 croissants and he has a total of 9 trays, how many croissants does he bake in a day? Use the area model and represent the story problem with an equation which shows the distributive property. I think I put an extra that in there. So if you need, you're gonna pause me right now so that you can read it one more time to yourself, and then you're gonna solve it, okay? In your math notebook. If you don't have your math notebook, please go get it. Or if you returned it for some reason, it's okay, just grab paper or grab any kind of notebook that you have at home. So pause, and then you're ready, you're gonna come back. Okay, so we're gonna start by solving. Let me read it one more time to understand what it's asking me to do. So a baker is baking several croissants. If on each tray he places 24 croissants and he has a total of 9 trays, how many croissants does he bake in a day? Use the area model and represent the story problem with an equation which shows the distributive property. So it seems if there's 9 trays and on each tray there's 24, it makes me think that we are dealing with multiplication. And if I go back to my anchor chart, I know that I'm going to be multiplying a double-digit number by a single-digit number, which makes me think that I might use the area model as an efficient strategy. So I'm going to try that right now, and I'm going to annotate my screen, so hold on a second. So I'm going to use, remember, whatever I'm doing at home, you probably solved at home. Just double check that it's correct. And if it's not, then you can pause to make sure that you're doing it correctly. So I know I have 24 times 9. So I'm going to start by writing that down up here. So I know that's my equation that I'm doing. Okay, and then before I even do the area model, I'm just thinking of ways that I can decompose these numbers to make them efficient. So I might just decompose 24 into a 20 and a 4. And I can just leave the 9 as is, but if I want to even make it more efficient, because sometimes multiplying by 9 can be a little tricky, I'm going to just decompose that 9 as well into 2 friendlier numbers. So I'm thinking I can decompose that into a 5 and into a 4. Okay, so now I've decomposed both numbers so that I can multiply more efficiently. And now I'm going to use my area model. So I'm going to just draw, and let me just use an actual rectangle. Sometimes that's easier. Let's make it blue. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is that now I'm gonna label my area model. So I know that I decomposed the 24 into a 20 and into a 4. So that 20 part of my area model is going to be way bigger. So I'm just going to draw a line this way, try to make a line. Okay, and then up at the top, I have 9, and I've decomposed it into a 5 and a 4, because 5 plus 4 is 9. And I'm just going to break that apart a little bit better. Okay. So now the next part is that I'm going to have to multiply in order to find the products for each of these, right? So I have to multiply 20 times 5, 20 times 4, then 4 times 5, and then 4 times 4 in order to find the total. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the total product. So 20 times 5, I can even count that on my hands. I can count by 5 groups of 20, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. And then 20 times 4, 20, 40, 60, 80. And now I have 4 times 5, which gives me 20. And then 4 times 4 would give me 16. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to add all of these products together. So 100 plus 80, I'm going to write it down here, 100 plus 80 plus 20 plus 16. Well, I'm looking, and if I think back to the associative property, it means I can just add things or multiply things in any order in order to just make it easier. I could say 100 plus 80, but I could also say 80 plus 20 gives me 100. So Now I have 100 plus 100 plus 16, which gives me a total of 216. So N equals 216, or that baker baked 216 croissants in one day. So thumbs up if that makes sense. If it doesn't, make sure that you write it down in your notebook that you're having a hard time with the area model, because later on throughout the week or today, if you do talk to your teacher, you can say, hey, Ms. Alonso, or Ms. Delgado, or Ms. Maldonado, I didn't understand the problem from today. Can we go over it? So I'm going to clear my page, and then we're just going to have some extra practice with area model with different equations. So 1 second as I do that. Okay, so now we're going to do a few more. We're actually going to do one more together, and then the next two, I want you guys to try it on your own, and in your small group at some point this week, you're going to meet with your teacher so that you can go over the answer for 24 times 15 equals n, and 63 times 9 equals n. So we're going to start with 22 times 8. So I want to decompose that 22. Let's do another color. Let's do green. Draw. So 22. I might just decompose it into a 20 and a 2. And then we'll just multiply by 8. So I'm going to do my rectangle. It's not going to be perfect. It's okay. I'm going to represent 20. Actually, let's represent 8 over here. And then 20. And 2 over here. Again, guys, it's kind of hard to draw on the computer. So sorry if it looks weird. So 20 times 8. I can count, right? 8 groups of 20, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160. And if I remember, 20 is a multiple of 10, right? So 20 times 8, remember we talked about this strategy. So 0 times 8 is 0, and then 8 times 2 is 16, or really it's 20 times 8, so it's really 160. Okay, so now we have 20 times 8 is 160, and then 8 times 2 is 16. And now we're going to add those two together. So 160 plus 116, we have 0 ones and 6 ones, so that gives us 6 ones. Then we have a 10 and a 60, so that gives us 70. And then we have 176. So 22 times 8 is 176. Now you're going to try 24 times 15 equals n. Try to use your area model. And 63 times 9 equals n. And before I go, I wanted to show you something. I really want you to try to write the distributive property. So really what we did is essentially here, but we're just going to write it out in parentheses. We multiplied 20 times 8 plus 8 times 2 to get that answer. So make sure that and that's a parentheses, guys. Let me try to do that again. So try to make sure that you're writing out the equation, and in the small group, you'll talk more about that. See you guys in the next video.